Okay. Now we're gonna work. Okay. Eat. Hello again, everyone. Decided to do a little bit more shiny hunting tonight. And I really do want to get this on, some sort of camera, whether that's replay buffer or actually clipping a stream. It's like, well, you know, I might as well just open the stream for a little bit anyway. But then, right as I was going to start making the stream and set up the broadcast, my internet cut out. Guess they were doing some kind of work tonight. Didn't specify exactly what it was, but something. I also dropped the RuneScape for a little bit. I'm geared for Tombs of Amaskit, and I don't really want to re-gear just to go fishing for a little bit. I could actually do some woodcutting on the UIM. Maybe set that up. Yeah, let's actually do that. I can woodcut. Count as the No, I'm getting outed as a free-to-play player. What was I doing? Looks like I was killing Brutus last. Does the Easter event do anything for me on this account? I don't think it does. I don't have a costume room yet. I mean, like, I could just get the stuff to unlock it from Django. I don't think that's worth doing, though. Kinda just want to chill tonight. That over there, and that over there. I'm not looking around like a madman all the time. Yeah, this account is still very baby. Even 500 total. Basically have not done anything real. I've been training magic at Brutus. Did a couple of the quests that give real XP, minimal combat training other than that. But I have 75 woodcutting, and then 50 fire making, and 52 fishing, and 50... Okay. I mainly just wanted to be able to go to, Wintertot when I start this, and then I was like, well, you know, I should... when I, bond this up eventually. Just kind of want to be able to go to Wintertot, get some construction XP, get a lot of the early game goals out of the way. Gonna do the RD1 you know, all of the classic early game Iron Man stuff, and kind of try to rush getting a reasonable construction level, so that when I do Winter Tot, I get the maximum amount of XP from that. I'll be doing solos, and I don't even need to do like weird bag juggling because of the reward crates. Now all coming, they're like Temperos and GOTR. Instead of getting one after every game, you just get them from a pile. But yeah, just kind of rush through a lot of the early game stuff, be ready to do that. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of was looking for something to AFK. You know, woodcutting. That's pretty AFK. So now I'm 75 woodcutting from doing almost entirely used with a steel axe. So it's there's been a lot of AFK happening on this account. And then whenever I have cash, I can go buy runes and do Brutus, because I want to get High Alchemy, and this works towards High Alch and Protection Prayers, which are two of my early goals. But, you know, rushing construction on an Ultimate Iron Man is pretty much the best thing you can do. So the sooner you unlock the ability to store useful items, the better. And then, once I have my costume room and the wardrobe and armor case set up, I was going to go get a lot of the skilling outfits. Go get my Graceful, go get my Prospector, go get my woodcutting outfits really fast, Angler, just kind of all of those that actually matter. Kind of just setting up this account to be in a more reasonably playable spot whenever I feel like playing it for a week or two. This is kind of what I just finished doing on my main. I took my old main from when Old School came out and went through and took a couple bonds to do... I finished off the quest cape, I did diaries, and I turned it into a reasonable money-making account. So it can do AFK gargoyles, and then I finished up Void and did Elite Void, so I could do Brutal Black Dragons with a Dragon Hunter crossbow. So it can, like, that account can make money on its own, which is nice. And it feels less bad to log into, even though it's still only like 1800 total. Finishing the quest cape is just kind of a nice thing to do. Oh, and it finished medium combat achievements, I think I went. Yeah. I did medium so that I could get more points from pest control. That account's kind of still baby in terms of skilling, but I don't really care about skilling on that account, and I don't really care about collection logs on my main. That account's purpose is to be an account that I drop things to buy bonds. And then while it is bonded, just make money. As much money as it can in that 2 weeks. So, not very exciting. It works. Gargoyles are so AFK, dude. Brings back classic memory. The old Guthin's AFK. In this account, it did actually get kind of lucky. It got a black pickaxe on its first beginner, so that's 1, storable, and 2, very light. But I don't feel that bad about having that in my inventory all the time. It's not necessarily fast, but, you know, we're in free-to-play. Currently, and level 30 mining. But it would be nice to kind of get this account going. I think I said my goal was eventually to get this to like 1500 total. Get it firmly into the mid-game, I think would be my goal. Or the next time I have a couple bonds, which who knows when that'll be. Kinda just do it whenever I have enough dupes on my main Iron Man. But especially with the membership price changes and I'm not paying for more than one account. If they ever do that, buy additional character slots, upgraded membership for like $2 per extra character or something, then yeah, I'd pay for... I'd pay to have 3 or 4 accounts all the time, I don't care. But 45, 60 bucks a month, that starts to get into like real bill territory. It costs as much to play RuneScape as it does to heat my house. Actually, not recently. Electric bill's been pretty high. I'm scared for when summer comes. This apartment gets very warm. It's a big glass sliding door that faces east, and so it gets very warm in the summer. I have to run the AC. Or it gets it to like 90 in here. Chance of Center went pretty good earlier. Made it through the first area. Don't remember how many areas there are, but really took a lot more brain power. Those gears took a little bit of time to warm up to get back into puzzle solving and language mode. It has been a while since I've had to do stuff like that. Can I drag the... It's been a while since I've had to do any language stuff like that. Just looks insane in such a tiny window. But I am chopping logs. But after that, did some cleaning, went out to the store. I ran out of parchment paper, which is a shame. Really wanted some tater tots, but I couldn't make tater tots. Didn't have any parchment paper. I guess I could have air fried them, and that would have been fine with the paper, but... I don't know. It was not a very exciting day. I do have tomorrow off, though. I did go for a walk. Nice walk. Time to check the nests in Pokemon Go. A Snover nest and a Machop nest. Snover, don't super care about. Machop is nice. Been on a quest to try to get as many perfect IV Machamps as I can. I think I'm on 7 right now. 2 of them I have up to level 50. Takes a lot of Stardust and XL Candy to get something to level 50. And then also, Machamp's not super useful anymore. When we started this challenge, it was back when there were still 4-star raids. And I wanted to be able to solo Tyranitar, which was a weather-boosted raid, and it's 4 times weak to fighting, and Machamp was the best fighting type in the game. Because I wanted to be able to solo Tyranitar so I could build up a good team to take on the original birds. This Tyranitar, with its this was before even Community Day, I think. So it didn't have the Rock Throw. It was just Bite, Rock Slide, I think is the moveset. No, it's Bite Crunch for the Dark moveset, and I think it was Bite, Rock Slide. Now it got the Community Day gives it a fast Rock move. And this was before that, even. But you could do it. You could solo Tyranitar. You could solo a 4-star raid with level 40 Machamps. And some luck. The weather made a big difference if it was cloudy with the fighting type boost. And then you could also Dolo them. Doloing being duoing, but with 2 of your own accounts. So solo, but just bringing in something as a +1 to get the friendship boost. So maybe this was after Community Days started, but not before Tyranitar or Larvitar had a Community Day. Because that was fairly late, I think. But then Machamp's just like a pretty solid, even if it's not the best fighting type anymore. Fighting's a fairly good type to just have. So yeah, I have 6 at level 40, 2 of them are level 50. They're all perfect. I want them all at level 50 just because that's my vanity project. This next Community Day I think is a Stardust one, so I should go out and do that. I don't even remember what it is, Tinkaton or something? Next month? I missed the one this month. Don't actually super care about Tinkaton. I don't know if it's a good Pokemon or not. I mainly just use Pokemon Go as an excuse to get outside these days. Just something to do while I'm on my walks. Put on a podcast or an audiobook or something. Just go like walk for 3 hours. Catch a bunch of Pokemon, come back. Be like, yep, that was cool. I don't think I have my pedometer on me. I think I got 10,000 steps today. It was a shorter walk. Then I went to the store. Some other stuff. I think overall it was 10,000. I am very slowly working towards the ultimate goal with that Pokewalker. I don't think I've ever actually explicitly talked about. I've been working on this for like a year, but I want to get to the point where I unlock the some of the later Pokewalker stages, so that I can do a shiny hunt on the Pokewalker. Because someone made a script to unshiny lock this Pokemon, so that when you get your 3 per what is it? Like 3 per outing. 3 Pokemon. Those have a chance of being shiny at full odds. And then I want to get a Jigglypuff. That. Have that be my Generation 4 Jiggly Quest Pokemon. That is a challenge that I've been working on since like 2016. I wanted to get a shiny Jigglypuff in every generation of Pokemon. And then getting the one in Gen 3 took me like 8 years. Kinda stalled out on that. I have Gen 2. I got Jigglypuff from Odd Egg and Crystal, and evolved that. And I have my Wild Encounter one. It's on this file right here. Took like 300,000 encounters to get over many, many phases. Gen 4, I have Diamond set up to do chaining right now, so it technically could be fast. But also, chaining is awful. It's so annoying, especially in small patches of grass like you have to do in the trophy garden. Not a very fun hunt. I know it's fast. Like, I could do that in a day if I wanted to, but I don't want to do that. Gen 5, I think the best way was it's in some double grass encounters, so it's full odds, but double. And then Gen 6 was really easy. Gen 7 was really easy, and then after that I kinda don't care. Anything in a new gen is easy to hunt. So it's like almost not even worth thinking about. Sorry. If I wanted to hunt Pokemon in Gen 8 or 9, or are they up to 10 now? Are we in Gen 10? Gen X? And you actually couldn't... When Sword and Shield came out, you couldn't even hunt Jigglypuff in them, because it was a DLC Pokemon. And I was like, nah. I don't want to buy a $60 game and a $20 DLC just to hunt a single Pokemon that's going to take me like a day to do. All of the methods are just too good. Shocking. I know. Guy playing old school RuneScape and hopping in grass for 200 hours to get a shiny Pokemon thinks that modern games are too easy. Crazy, I know. I mean, especially Pokemon kind of is, though. Like, it's so easy to get a shiny Pokemon. Like, you run around in RCS. Not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and anything with Pokemon in the overworld. It's like, what are we even doing? Is this even hunting? I make a sandwich, and then I run into a cave, and I see 700 Pokemon at once. Yeah, I sure hope you find a shiny like that, especially with doubled odds and a charm. I mean, even doing, like, horde encounters in Ruby and Sapphire, or in Oras. Like, horde encounters, seeing 5 Pokemon at a time for, like, a 1 in 1,300 chance to get shiny. It's like, that felt kind of scummy to do. For me, at least. That felt like it was way too fast. Like, you could see a shiny every day if you wanted to. The hunts that I liked doing in that with hordes were generally for the low encounter percent Pokemon. So, like, I did the 5% encounter Bagon in Meteor Falls. That was fun. Because, like, yeah, you get a shiny every day. You'd see a shiny Zubat every day you were doing this. And then, you know, it just takes 30 phases to see an actual Bagon. And then you catch your Bagon. Or like the level 5 Salamence. Level 5 shiny Salamence doing SOS chaining. I wanted to do that hunt, I never actually did. I don't actually know where my copy of Moon is. I think I have Moon. It's probably somewhere in that drawer for games. Those are fun. I did like doing the rock smash hunt in the cave by Dewford Town. I forget what cave that's called. I wanted to get a shiny nose pass, and so I just went around and did the rock smash method every night before bed for a couple months, and then I didn't end up getting nose pass. I did get a Geodude though. Got a shiny, and then I kind of like the hunts where you build up just like a ridiculous amount of supplies. So that stocked up stuff. Heart scales and stardust and pearls, I think. I don't remember all what you get from Smash Pokemon. But it was fun. I liked doing that. And then Odd Egg was pretty fun too. Because even though the Odd Egg is like a 1 in 8 chance to be shiny or something like that, like the Odd Egg it's very high odds to get shiny Pokemon. Because it can be any of the baby Pokemon. Getting a specific shiny that you want is actually pretty rare. And hatching eggs in Gen 2 takes a long time, because Flame Body and Bike is pretty slow. You have to save before you pick up the egg. So you have to do the whole, like, 7 minutes of biking to hatch the egg every single time. That was kind of fun. I liked doing that. Celebi was fun because it was unique. It was the only way, that still I think is the only way to get a legitimate shiny Celebi in like a huntable fashion. And then Pokewalker, like, doing a Pokewalker hunt is, like, that's full odds and you're looking at doing not more than like 10 encounters a day per Pokewalker. And even just unlocking the area where Jigglypuff is has taken me over a year, having it on me every day at work and going for walks to get to the step requirement. It's like, how many watts is it to get to the area? So first I have to get the national dex. Because it's one of the post-game ones. Yeah, you need 80,000 watts. And then it becomes one of the Group B 4,000 plus steps one, so it is not that hard to get. It's not that hard to get 4,000 steps in a day, so I could get a pretty high number of those per day. So it's not the highest one, but it is the second highest. Second highest here. 80,000 watts means, so it's 9,999 watts is the maximum that you can do at once. And each watt is like 20 steps, I think. So it's like... No, each watt is 200, isn't it? Steps is a watt, so yeah. 80,000 times 20 is times 2 is 160,000, so 1.6 million steps, give or take. Just to unlock the area, and then I also have to beat the game and get the National Pokedex, because I'm still in the first gym. That was the file that I was doing a Professor Oak's challenge on. So I haven't actually beaten that game yet. I did a shiny starter, got shiny Cyndaquil, and then I was leveling everything up for Professor Oak's challenge, and then I decided that I didn't actually really want to do a Professor Oak's challenge. But I did about 30 hours of it. I went through a phase of trying some funny challenge runs. So I got a shiny Magikarp, and I did a Magikarp only run. The game I did the Picasspray does these soft lock videos, and there was one about soft locking yourself with a level 5 Magikarp before Mount Moon, and then needing to struggle train that in Viridian Forest to get to Gyarados, and I did that challenge. It only took like 20 hours, so it wasn't that bad. 20 hours of struggle training Magikarp in Viridian Forest is a thing that I have done in Pokemon. And then Gyarados just, you know, sweeps the rest of the game, doesn't matter. One of my friends has been learning to do Gen 3 RNG manipulation stuff recently, which has been fun to watch. He wanted to do it to get his shiny starter, so he like did an ace setup to find his secret ID, and then has been using like Eon timer and stuff. And then while doing that, he's accidentally gotten 2 full odds shinies, like that aren't RNG manipped. Which is funny, because he said he'd never gotten, like, despite playing Pokemon his whole life, he's never gotten a full odds shiny in a 1 in 8,000, 192 game. So getting 2 within like a month of playing not Switch Leaf Green. He's been playing actual Gen 3 cartridge on the DS. Not sure how late I'm gonna go tonight. I really wanted to take a nap earlier, but I didn't. But I kinda need to stay up to get my sleep schedule back on my my work cycle. I'm not actually off until 1 or 2 a.m. most of the nights that I work. But I've been getting up at like when the sun comes up, and I've been getting tired when the sun goes down. The sun goes down in the middle of my shift, but I can't really be doing that. The struggle. It shouldn't be as bad once the days start getting longer, though. Sun doesn't set until very late here in the summer. And with daylight savings, it moved up a lot. I can sit in the parking lot on my break and see the sun while I eat my dinner. Which is better than never seeing the sun. Which is what happens in the winter. The sun is already set fully before I go to work. Anyway, So yeah, Pokemon Go is a nice way for me to force myself to get outside when it's dark, or wake up early to go for walks before work. It's less dark. But once I get this shiny hunt set up, it'll be pretty nice, I think. I am getting a second Pokewalker with one of the games that I just bought, but I know there is a way to kind of trick it so that you don't need to actually unlock everything again on a second Pokewalker and send the same Pokemon out from file to multiple things or something. I'd have to go look at the method again. And then it's like a Game Shark code or an action replay code, so I'd have to do it on my 3DS. But I know there are people who have done this hunt. I have all the stuff and the right amount of craziness to try it. And you know, I'm already like a year into setting this up, so I've certainly made that into a habit, just having it with me. And that also gets me out more. It feels bad to walk under, like, 5,000 steps a day now. Which has definitely been nice for me. It's probably good. More walking is generally better. One of those few health things that's hard to actually overdo. Get out, see the sun, move a little bit. And then it also gives me podcast time. Not that I really lack podcast time. I listened to all of a Japanese audiobook last month. I'll listen to my history podcasts and stuff. Just finished up a series on the South American Wars of Independence. Simon Bolivar. Just a bit fun. Man was insane. Little excited to get into the... So the way this podcast is set up, it's the Revolutions podcast by Mike Duncan. He's going through all of these revolutions in chronological order, from like the proto-liberal revolution of the English Civil War into the American Revolution, into the French Revolution, Haiti, South American Wars of Independence, 1830, and then 1848, and somewhere in there there's Mexico, and then into Russia. There might be one in there somewhere. And at some point he's talked about how these transitioned from being like enlightened liberal revolutions into being communist socialist fueled revolutions. I'm really interested to see kind of how that happens. Because I've already listened to Russia. I listened to France and Russia, and then I went back and started at the beginning. I went back through all of those again. And then I also have a Japanese history podcast that I listen to. History of Japan podcast with Isaac Mine, which is really good. That's a fantastic podcast. I use his show notes a lot to find books to read. I actually have one sitting on my desk. I brought it with me camping. It's a Topman book about Japanese forestry practices. And then I have another one about post-war economic policy. It sounded really interesting. But his shows are always so well-sourced. Be like, ooh, that sounds like an interesting topic. Still have plenty of those to get through. I think I'm on like episode 3... Did I pass 400? I don't remember. He's on like 600 or something now. Let's see, where am I? I did pass 400, so he's on episode 630, and I'm on episode 417. So, plenty of time to catch up, but I listen to those at work a lot when I'm in the mood, and then I generally am listening to those when I'm on my walks. I have a Bluetooth headset, and just keep one earbud in. And I started listening to some Japanese podcasts too, this month. The Shikuhaku American Life podcast is pretty good. It's hosted by a Japanese-American immigrant who lives in the San Diego area, I want to say. She moves around. Like, one of the big things in her recent episodes is talking about moving and getting a new car and a new job. She lived in the US for like 10 years, so she just talks about her experiences, some of the cultural differences and knowledge differences, and like stuff she misses about Japan, but also stuff that she thinks is cool here. So it's very casual. It's also a pretty easy podcast to listen to. She likes to weave in English words. She's like working on improving her English too. So she will... The podcast is in Japanese, which will include English words, which become kind of nice ways of making sure that you're following what she's talking about. And then I was actually doing this as a listening speed up challenge. I wanted to improve my kind of fluidity, ability to follow stuff as it got sped up, process things faster. So I tried to do 100 hours of sped up listening practice in February. One of those was an audiobook, Kohi ga Samanai Uchi ni, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is awful. I did not like that book at all. It was like pretty mid. It was okay for the first 3 sections of the book, and then the last one was atrocious. Like, bad enough that I would never recommend that book to anyone ever. Had like the worst plot line I've maybe ever encountered. It made me very angry. And not in like a good, angry way. Like, some things are bad, but in funny ways. That wasn't bad, but in like a, just like... totally socially unaware. Presenting this plotline as like a cute thing when it's like... got some really bad implications for women's bodily autonomy. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Shinzo Abe up there in the clouds. I guess this was kind of a big thing on Twitter today. Scrolling through, and I guess there's been some discussion about VTubers being too sanitized when it comes to political discussion, trying to play the crowds or pretend they don't have opinions. And I'm just gonna tell you, that's not me. I am very well read. I have very strong opinions about things, and sometimes I'm going to talk about them. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. One of my big hobbies is reading, both in Japanese and in English. And a lot of what I read is nonfiction. And a lot of what I read is academic level. At least, like, survey course level. I try not to read a whole lot of pop level stuff. If I'm going to be spending time reading about history, I don't really want to read a pop history. I'm going to be reading, like, I go through, you know, podcast source lists, or I go through, I'll go to, like, some schools and look at what textbooks those classes are teaching, and then just read those textbooks myself. Which you can do too, provided you are a strong enough academic reader. There's nothing stopping you. But that's a reading threshold that I've passed a long time ago. Not worried about being able to read intro class level stuff and then work from there up into more advanced level stuff. And that's one of my goals with Japanese, is eventually to be able to read more academic stuff. Because Japan actually has a surprisingly big linguistics scene in academia. There's a lot of cool linguistics papers that are only written in Japanese, and a lot of cool research that's being done that I'd like to be able to access. It's one of my long-term goals with Japanese, which would be a much closer goal if I actually, you know, spent more time reading those, but visual novels are more fun, I will be honest, than reading very dry academic writing about, you know, the... What was this paper that I read? It was about the third formant coloring of Japanese vowels. Those are words that probably mean nothing to you, unless you're a linguist, but it's a cool paper. Or stuff about, like, you know, variations in, like, tongue placement, or vowel mergers, consonant mergers, or reading historical stuff about, like, periods of script reform. But a lot of that stuff in linguistics specifically is really tied to sociology and really tied to history, so it matters that you are learning about those on the side as well. I do. I do read the news, though, at least. I have an Asahi Shimbun subscription. I'll go through and read articles from that. I was trying to watch some stuff on the All Nippon News Network, ANN, so they have a free YouTube channel that has a lot of their live 24/7 broadcast coverage. But my reading is a much higher ability, or my reading ability is much higher than my listening ability currently, so I was really struggling to keep up with stuff, especially because I was doing this in February, which was during the last series of elections, and so there was a lot of election coverage. And, listening to election coverage is rough. There's a lot of words. A lot of stuff in that news cycle that I wasn't familiar with and really struggled to keep up with, especially on a live stream. Like, in a video you can pause and rewind and stuff, but live stream, it's just like, okay, you either get this story or you're not gonna understand anything for the next 5 minutes. So I'd kind of like fade in and out. It's like, oh, here's a story about a murder case at some temple where they pulled off some weird gas thing and locked someone in the basement with candles, killed him. Okay, especially with their funny 3D diagrams, I can follow that. Then they would switch to something about, like, someone running for the 8th district of the Sapporo. Talking about, like, monetary policy, and be like, wow, those are words. I did find a book last year that I'm really interested to read. It's an intro to economics books that I found on clearance at a used bookstore in Japanese. But it's from like 1988 or 1989, so like right in the middle, like in that peak bubble era. And I'm curious what kinds of things they have to say if they're going to talk about, relations to the Japanese economy in the 80s. It's all sunshine and roses, baby. It's all up. There's no problems here. Everything is going to be great forever. Japan's going to be the world power. They're going to overtake the US. And then, like, whoops. All of our value is in business land in Tokyo. And we created a horrific bubble, and then we popped it in a horrific way. And now, no one can get jobs anymore. So it'll be fun. Go through that eventually, and then Spice and Wolf also has a bunch of economic stuff in it. That'll probably help. I did a test read. Honestly, it wasn't that bad, language-wise. The prose is very straightforward, which is generally true in light novels. But then, it does have some fantasy words, it's for fake medieval setting, and economics explanations. Although I don't really think anything in Spice and Wolf is that complicated, economics-wise. It's rated really highly. We use a site called Natively to do comparative, like, ELO style grading. And on that site, Spice and Wolf is graded fairly high for a light novel. It's at level 36 out of 50 on that scale. And most light novels are around 30. 29 or 30. But it didn't read like a 36 to me. Even a couple years ago when I was test reading it, but I recently I was supposed to do a bunch of test reading and revisiting stuff this month, and I just kind of didn't. I wanted to finish a book in a day for the readathon, and then only managed to get 3 hours of reading in, so did not finish a book. And I wanted to finish a volume of Toradora, and I wanted to finish Ichigo Dome. I think I've read 0 of Toradora and like 30 pages of Ichigo Dome. So not a lot of reading this month. But I was kind of sick, and then I was setting up stream stuff, so I'm going camping. I don't know, spring's always kind of weird for me, because I like want to do so much stuff. Get done with the winter blues, and it's like, I need to get back into doing all of these things, and then only so many of them. Only have time to do so many things in a day. Especially with work. I've done a fair bit amount of it. Yeah. Okay. done a fair amount of stuff this spring. Last month, didn't quite hit 100 hours, but I got pretty close. I think it was like 98. Definitely could, like, noticeably feel my comprehension speed improving. Did my first full audiobook, which is good. Because listening has historically been my weakest skill, or one of my weakest skills in Japanese, so... Like, I took N2 a couple years ago, and failed by 1 point, because I only got like 18 out of 60 on listening. Absolutely bombed that. Then I was like, okay, I guess we have to, you know, do a listening arc. And that's kind of when I started to get more into VTubing. Started watching more Hololive and then more independent VTubers, and spent a lot of time doing listening, and now my listening's pretty okay. It's not as strong as my reading, but I also just read a lot. But still have plenty of room to improve with reading. There's just a lot of words, man. There's so many words. But it's fun at this point. I like doing stuff in Japanese. I enjoy playing games. It's at a level where it's fun for me, even if I have to stop sometimes and look up words. Enjoy the process. Did about 60 hours of Stardew last summer. Did a lot of Minecraft, the Pokemon, did my visual novels. I already talked about doing Flowers. Flowers was hard. I had to use a text hooker for that because there's just so many words in that game. But lots of short games. Usukara Hajime no Koe no Natsu. That was a good one. Really long. That took me like 30 total hours. And that's a game that doesn't have routes. That's a kinetic novel. You just go straight through. It's one story. There's no choices. No routes. And still, that was a 30-hour game. And Flowers has routes, but they're, like, not real. Mostly. There's some bad ends that are, like, 30 seconds long. And then there's a second route that you can only do after you beat the true route. It is 7 chapters of identical content, so you can skip almost entirely through it. And then it's like an extra 20,000 characters at the end. It's very short compared to a lot of games that have like really early branching stuff. But I've really been enjoying visual novels. I had not really read a lot of them in English, like I did Karawa Shoujo. But I only did one route. I played Emily is Away, which I liked quite a bit, but that's like a really unique presentation style. But other than that, I hadn't really played visual novels until I started doing Japanese. And then I was like, oh, this is actually kind of a cool format. I like this. So I've been dipping my toes into that. And especially with text hookers, it's so easy. They make it so fast to do lookups. Textractor kind of sucks. I hate using it, but it is powerful when it works. And then agent. If a game has an agent script, it's like, oh, free. Might show off how to set those up at some point, but it's a little funky. Especially with Steam games. Which I also like playing Steam games because achievements and getting 100%. I like 100% in games. So if a game is on Steam, I'll try to buy it on Steam. Rather than... Yes. Where was I buying things? There was another site. There's a Japanese site that I was buying things on, but then I think they stopped taking US credit cards. I can't remember where it was. I had to do some funny workarounds. Just whatever free-to-play games there are out there. Which I've also been really surprised by. I mean, visual novels, the barrier to entry is so low. You can make a visual novel yourself. Entirely by yourself. It's not unreasonable to do that. So there's some cool, like, one-man show type, real indie visual novels. And then itch.io. Not as big for Japanese things, but been getting more into those. Set up Flashpoint Archive so I could go back and play some Flash games, which are also, you know, indie one-man show type games. Might play some of those on stream at some point. So I'll say it, I'm not a huge fan of modern gaming as an industry or a lot of the games. I'm a much bigger fan of either older games or independent games, like real independent. Couple of guys making a game themselves and putting it out there. I know there's a lot of things that are tagged indie now that are, you know, maybe we shouldn't call this indie. Maybe indie is a word that's kind of lost some meaning. Like calling Dave the Diver an indie game. It has the aesthetics of an indie game, but it is a professional company doing that. That's a real company. Or games like Minecraft that start out indie, and then become not indie. I mean, small teams can still be indie, and that's not what I'm saying, but... I really enjoy stuff like, you know, Stardew Valley. Where it is just, like, basically one guy. But I don't really like gacha games. That kind of turns me away from doing things. I don't really like the Battle Royale shooter type games. I think those are kind of boring. Like, I've tried Fortnite, I played PUBG. Not a huge fan of extraction shooters. I guess I primarily, like, one of the main things that I like in games is stories, so... Even if a game has a good story to me, then I'll play, regardless of genre. So I like Zelda likes, I like Metroid likes. Not a huge fan of roguelike games in general, just because, I mean, the progression system can be interesting, the gameplay loop can be fun, but generally not as story-driven. I like shooter games if they have a good story. So I like Halo. At least the old Halos. I liked Destiny, but Destiny's brutal, man. I like the feel of playing Overwatch. I don't actually like playing Overwatch. RuneScape's super lore heavy, so I like playing RuneScape. Pokemon it's got a fair bit of story in it. Especially combining it with, like, the anime. A reasonable amount of role building in Pokemon. But Zelda games, I do like Zelda games a lot. And music. Music is really big for me in games. Good soundtrack is like a make or break thing for me. Take a good game, add a good soundtrack, and then that's S tier. So stuff like Okami, obviously Legend of Zelda. Most of the Zelda games have really good soundtracks. Pokemon has a good soundtrack. RuneScape has a good soundtrack. There's kind of an action rhythm game called Sayonara Wild Hearts. It came out during COVID and I played a lot of. That was really good. Greece was phenomenal. I still listen to that soundtrack just on its own. I guess that's another benefit of visual novels, is that a lot of them have a very specific style of music, and because you're listening to it so much, it kind of grows on you. It becomes... Like, I still go listen to visual novel music, like, in normal playlists. It's really good. Especially because I'm a pianist, and so much visual novel music is piano. I like piano music. I've been trying to figure out the logistics of doing a piano stream, and I think I figured out a way to do it, but I need to get a longer cable. I have extension cables for my headphones and long enough 1/4 inches to run them to my audio interface. But this interface is only 2 inputs, so I'd have to do mono if I wanted to do mic at the same time. So I would probably drop the mic and just have to be in chat. But then I'd have to, like, set up my laptop so that I could see chat without getting off of my piano bench, which I could do. But I would need a USB extender, for sure. Because I have a second webcam that I can use. I was using it for rhythm game hand cam stuff. But the cable's not very long, so I'd have to move it over, find a good place to put it, or I could just, like, get a static. I guess if I'm not talking, then don't need actually be moving for voice tracking purposes. I don't know. I feel like seeing, like, how a pianist moves is kind of, it's like part of the experience. Because you do move a lot. You wouldn't think you do. You wouldn't think that the piano is like a full body instrument, but you carry all of the tension in your back. in your shoulders when you play. And so, like, that's one of the main places that expressiveness comes from. If you watch people do, like, the Chopin competitions, or any of those sort of professional concert pianist type things, like, they're moving around a lot. They're not just sitting there playing like a robot. They are moving and swaying and feeling the music, and they'll lean in real close over the keys, and they'll lean back and bask in the sound, and it's a good time. That was one of my big COVID things. It's the Chopin competition hosted these Sunday morning recitals at the Chopin Museum in Poland. They would invite world-class pianists to come in and do little hour-long sessions in the summer every week, and they moved it to once a month last year, I think, and that broke my heart. It was so good. I mean, like, I get why. It's harder to fly people around now, especially in Eastern Europe, but I really did like those. Make some coffee. Look. I'm really excited here for when it gets just a tiny bit warmer. I realized that my deck is actually the right size for me to put my hammock up on it. So I can string my hammock up and I can read, and oh, it's gonna be so good. Just kind of vibing. Spaced out there for a second. Is that AKB back? No, different guy. You a new little baby? 1300 total? Aw. You and Winter Todd. I really like being in this clan. It's got some really high level players who do really cool stuff and are willing to teach, but then you also have a lot of mid-game players and occasionally some new players coming through the learning process. So it's casual, but contains really knowledgeable players, which is cool. Been in it for about 2 years now. Oh. Yeah, that was, it was founded right after Narissa started doing her old school RuneScape streams. realized that there was actually a pretty large group of people that were Hololive fans and RuneScape players. It's like, hey, we should start a clan. And then they did. And then I joined not long after that, on the second or third stream, I think. But then there's all sorts of account builds in this clan too, which is nice. Some really high level Ultimate Iron Men, some really high level Iron Men. There's a really good pure, like really, really good pure. He's also in another like real PKing clan, but hangs out in this one as well. And obviously there's some really good pet hunters and collection loggers and stuff. There are actually 2 people in this clan who have 200 million runecrafting XP, which is kind of insane. Well, there's one currently, and then there's one who keeps his alt in here to chat, but he's in a real skiller clan. Moved to a real skiller clan at least. But he taught me a bunch of stuff. Chewy's great. Really, really high level Ultimate Iron Man skiller. And Silver's really high level Ultimate Iron Man PVMer. Then we got probably like a top 100 pet hunter. Don't actually know. I know he's missing Bloodhound and Lilzik, and I think those are the last 2 pets he needs. Bye, friend. Not like a super active chatter, but you see his drops come in and then people congratulate him and then he thanks everyone. Kinda cute. Posts little stories about his pets, because he likes to do solos for stuff. So like he did like 3,000 Corp KC to get his pet. Or how much was it? He did a lot of Corp KC. I think 3,000 might be underselling it. Okay, he did, yeah. Yeah, he did 12,000 Corp KC. 12,122. And I think all of those were solos. Even as a main, he just decided to do 12,000 Corp KC solo. Legend. So we'd just be like, you know, sitting there in chat, and every once in a while you'd see big Onyx Bolt drop, and he'd be like, ah, my friend's online, he's doing Corp still. It's fun. But he's been in Taub recently. Very close to all pets. And then I'm just like, baby. Not baby, but breaking into endgame Iron Man content. Finishing off the Slayer boss stuff and getting into raids a little bit and starting to think about some of the longer term grinds. We have 2 or 3 Grandmasters too. I know we have at least one. I'm pretty sure it's 2 or 3. And then a bunch of baby accounts. Mid-game, everyone just kind of sits around together. It's fun. Pretty casual. Overall, good vibes. Also been getting back into playing more puzzle games before bed recently. Just kind of wind down. Going through my Steam library and looking for games that have achievements and are kind of low-key. So, I've been playing like a puzzle game, and then just finished a chess puzzle game. And there's some mobile ports of puzzle games, like Monument Valley. I want to go play through that. Little Inferno, and those are the games from the World of Goo People. Human Resource Machine. That's how I kind of remembered Chains of Sennar, actually. So I was going through my library and I was like, oh, I forgot that I got this. This is a puzzle game. I should play this, but I think that would be a fun one to stream, because that's more focus intensive. That's not really a chill game. That's like a brain actually on game. Compared to like, I don't know, Scobond. I guess Human Resource Machines, that's a brain-on game too, because that's basically just like, hey, we're gonna fake teach you how to code assembly. But the chess game, that's absolutely not brain-on. Minimum effort. I mean, it's still chess puzzles, but most of them are not that hard. For Maiden 1, there's not a whole lot of complicated stuff you can do for Maiden 1 puzzles. Because you can just look at the board and be like, okay, here's literally all the checks. Are any of these Maiden 1? If yes, there's your answer. Scobond's been pretty challenging, though. There's a lot more depth to that game than I thought there would be. What else do we got? Oh, I just picked up another game recently too that's also linguistics. It's called 7 Days to End With You. It's supposed to be kind of similar, where you're deciphering a conlang. So I'll probably play that one after I finish Chance of Sennar. Some classic ones like Chip's Challenge. I do want to beat Chip's Challenge, but Chip's Challenge is just like a brutally unfair game. It's a top-down, like 2D movement puzzle game. And it has some very, very brutal ways to die. Just to, you know, unprompted. We're just gonna kill you. For walking on this random tile. Because it's an old game. It's like early 2000s. But also whenever he dies, he says bummer in a really funny way. Bummer. What else we got? What else we got in here? Flower is a pretty chill game. I may go back and do that. It's a 100% thing. I do want to replay Grease at some point and finish off the achievements for that, because I didn't get all of the optional things. Yeah, and then there's Little Inferno. Which I swear we beat, but I may have done that in a call with another friend, and it may have been on their file. Coaster Tycoon 2. I'll probably play Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 on stream at some point. That's such a good game. Spiritfarer. I do want to finish Spiritfarer at some point. I'd probably have to restart though, because I don't remember where I was. Umurangi Generations was really good. I might go back and do the rest of the achievements for that. And The Witness. That's also a very brain-on game. Probably do that. That might not be a stream game though. I do like puzzle games. And on my phone too. Been getting back into Flow. The one where you have to connect pipes. Different colored pipes. I played so much Flow. Lost my progress, but it's okay. It's just kind of a nice time filler game. It's not generally very hard. Especially with the thousands and thousands of them that I've done at this point. But they keep adding new variants. There's a new 3D, or fake 3D style one. It's like isometric. Rather than just normal squares. It's cool. Different shaped boards, different numbers of colors. It's like a tunnel and a bridge one. So you can have types cross each other. In fact, I might do my dailies right now. Oh yeah. Up dailies, these are probably all easy. I guess I could set this up on like a mobile emulator and play it on stream, but it's not actually that interesting. And also, I've only done it with thumbs forever, so. I wonder if there's speedruns for Flow. People speedrun this game. Because it has a built-in, like, time trial mode. It's usually the kind of thing that prompts people to turn things into a kind of speed game. Okay, daily's done. Even unlocked. 3-day streak. Guess I've been not keeping up with my dailies as much as I should. Let's see. Go to SRC. Does Flow have speedrun? Maybe if I type speedrun right. Oh. Three. Wow. Record finishing the whole classic pack in just under 6 minutes. What does this look like? Okay, so we're doing 2 hands here. That's pretty fast. That's 150 puzzles. Do some math. So it's 6 minutes times 60 divided by 150. So you're averaging doing a puzzle every 2.4 seconds. That speed. But then second place is almost 8 minutes. So that's a pretty big. Yeah, I could do this. I could get a run. I could get a run going here. Get on the flow free leaderboard. There are PC runs allowed. Let's see. I guess it's probably better to do with a touchscreen. Let's see what our guides look like. I'll quickly switch to the next level. You lose almost 1 second per level, which adds up to 2 minutes for... Quick level switching mechanic that is triggered when you immediately tap in the top half of the screen right after finishing a level. Try this. So we complete a level, immediately tap in the top half of the screen. Oh, it does work. Wow. That's cool. But it doesn't work on the first level of a pack. Okay. Okay. That's so much faster. I had no idea this was tech. Okay, okay, okay. We're learning. You have a split? Even pre-made splits? This would be fun to do, I think. When was our last run submitted? 8 months ago? Might take a while to get verified, but... that could be fun to do. That's a speedrun that I could learn to do, for sure. Sick, no hints. And there's even smaller categories, so do classic pack 5x5 levels. There's a full game category. Jack of all trades. Completion of one level in every pack. Huh. It's fun. I like speedruns. They're cool. I want to do more speedrunning. There's even a whole bunch of these packs that just don't have submitted runs, especially for the more modern ones. So there's like at least one fairly competitive category. How many runs are in bonus pack? Bonus is 14 runs, but the classic pack has 54 runs in it. Is that two enemies back to back, or was there something in the middle there? Because that's a 1%. So seeing that, that's rarer than a shiny. 1 in 100 times 1 in 100. It's within 10,000. But I actually don't remember if there was something in the middle. I'm not paying very close attention. I'm mostly just listening for the sparkles. I should see about this. I don't know if I could stream this, because I'd probably have to do it on my phone. I don't have another touch-capable device, and it looks like you definitely want to be using 2 thumbs for it. For maximum speed. Is there like a Time trial leaderboard. No. People just posting those. Discord for this? There's a speedrun Discord. Let's go. Oh, I need to claim my account. I logged in. I think I have desktop audio muted, so I should be fine to open this. An actual application process. Just wait for that. But that'd be fun, I think. So that's a fun speedrun to do. Try out. It's pretty fast. It's a game that I'm already really familiar with. I've been interested in learning some speedrun stuff, but then the process of learning a speedrun on a game that you don't know super well already is kind of tricky. A lot of the games that I do know to play really well are very competitive. The Legend of Zelda games, so then they require learning to play the game in like a whole new way, doing a bunch of glitches, and tech, really complicated stuff at really sort of consistency and precision. Pokemon speedruns are insane. They are so good at Pokemon. Watching like Worcester play. Truly crazy. I do kind of want to learn like Wind Waker. Wind Waker, I think, would be a cool speedrun to learn. Eventually. I'm both intimidated and attracted by the difficulty of manual Super Swim. But I mean, I already like Wave Dash. So I know Wave Dashing isn't as fast as manual Super Swim, but I'm no stranger to that kind of maneuver on a GameCube controller. Since I did play Melee. I mean, I was never like good at Melee, but better than casual. Did go play at real in-person locals and play with competitive people. Made a PR player swap off his secondary. Real proud of that. It's my single Melee claim to fame. I went up 2-0 against a PR player and I made him swap from Falco to Fox, and then I got destroyed. Fox is so good, dude. Fox is just such a busted character. And also I played Puff, so, you know, that matchup's funny. No one ever lives past 40%. But I really just do not like playing Puff Fox. Puff Falco's fine. I like playing Puff Falco. Even though you get, you know, killer punching bag beat up for most of the game and find your little opportunities to get in really high impact punishes. Just don't like playing against Fox, but I do like playing against Falco. Which is weird. Most people, it's the other way around. I think, if they like playing against one of them at all. I also really, really hated Puff Marth. Dude, his sword is so big. Marth's sword is so big, man. Deal with that. So eventually I swapped to Sheik. But I still do have a Puff. I don't feel like doing forestry events tonight. I mean, roots, I'll chop roots if I see them. I do have the forestry kit on, because I want to eventually store that. Yeah, I have my forestry kit on, just because I will build it work eventually, but really don't feel like doing boost events. And then also this isn't a very popular forestry spot, but it's just the closest views that I have in free-to-play to a general store. Because I was just dropping them before, but then I was like, I might as well get a little bit of cash for these, so I can upkeep runes. And that's how I was gonna buy enough runes for 55 magic, which I should have now. Because Brutus also drops runes and things that are worth money. Brutus basically breaks even if you're doing earth spells. Okay, one of the mods for this game was all last online today, so. Maybe it won't take that long. See if they let me into the server yet. Looks like there's nothing too exciting. Max still doesn't have his third synod. Event announcements? Holy shit. I should do this Brutus event. Get a submission in. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Just participating in clan events is fun. Sorry. I probably shouldn't be checking Discord while I'm streaming. Just kind of wanted to scroll through real quick, see if anything interesting is happening tonight that I should be doing instead of Pokemon and Ultimate Iron Man. But not really. It's been kind of a chill night. I think we're getting into my actual bedtime here at some point soon. I try to make it to like 3:30. Then I still have to get ready for bed and finish making my bed, put the sheets on, and straighten it out or anything. I have to get up on top of my bed to do that, and I have a lofted bed. And then I have to do my reading, but I've not been doing a whole lot of reading. Like I said, most of my reading recently has been Squid Girl. Been reading that like a chapter or two before bed, because they're pretty short, varied. It's a really hard series for me to binge, because it's just a very slice-of-life comedy. Which is fine. It's just a nice long-term thing to have. I'm almost done with volume 8 right now. 22. There are 22 total volumes of that series. I should bring one of my books up to bed and be reading that, but I don't know. Still, reading novels is still just like a little bit too much work for me to do before bed. A little bit too focused, a little bit too many word lookups. Manga is pretty fine, actually. My little e-reader. I got my books set up with Bookwalker so I can read stuff on that. I have a bunch of physicals that I still need to read. This year was supposed to be... There's two things that this year was supposed to be for big picture reading stuff on the forum. All my friends declared that this was the year of the novel, so everyone should start trying to read novels. So I've been kind of working a little bit towards that. Not really succeeding, not finding a whole lot of success. More just because I haven't wanted to read in Japanese. Than because I can't. But it would be reading a lot more. Would kind of decrease that friction to get to the point where they become something that can just pick up before bed. Questions asked. And I guess I did finish I finished an audiobook though. Which is not quite this. And then also it's the Sundoku year. Everyone's doing Sundoku, which is kind of like backlog. Buying books and not reading them. So everyone's been trying to clear out their stacks of unread stuff without buying more stuff. Some people have come up with point systems for it. I've just been kind of going, eh. Try not to buy new stuff unless I need to, because I also don't have space. But I've been trying to go through a lot of my physicals that I haven't read. But, like, I still have most of Mushishi, most of Which Crimson Like a Lion, most of Hoseki no Kuni, a lot of one of the Toho series, Masaka, 4 volumes of Conan. Just like a lot of manga that I want to read. But when I bought them, they were relatively hard. Because most of those are on the hard end for manga. Like especially like March Comes In Like a Lion and Mushishi, those are among the hardest manga that you can read in like a modern format. Because stuff like Nausicaa is obviously hard, but it's also in like a weird format for modern readers. Way more text dense. But those are also all pretty text heavy and also kinda thinky, heady. Mushishi gets very philosophical. Comes in Like a Lion, gets very philosophical. Squid Girl does not. Squid Girl is all cute. Pure sugar. But Squid Girl's only like a 22 or 23. I think it should probably be rated harder than that. Because it does have a pretty wide variety of technical vocabulary. It uses funny words. Some of the characters get crazy later. 3 of the characters are scientists. And they use a lot of very technical words. So just the breadth of language used in the series is wide enough for me to consider it harder than 22 or 23. Because that's like high school rom-com level. 22. According to me, is like a 22 or 23. And it's definitely harder than that, in my opinion. But then I also have a whole bunch of physical books that I've picked up and physical light novels that I basically have not made a dent in at all. I finished the first 2 volumes of Toradora, and I'm in the middle of the 3rd one somewhere. I think around like 50%-ish done. But light novels are just so slow, dude. One volume of a light novel, ends up being the same content as like 3 episodes of an anime, so it's very slow reading them. Glacial pace. And then a full series might be like 20 or 30 volumes long. Excuse me. I've read at least a couple volumes of stuff here, and I do make sure to do some reading every day. Even if it's just, you know, scrolling Pixiv for fiction before bed. I did do that for a while. That's like literally no stakes. And obviously playing games, and, you know, I have most of my apps and stuff set to Japanese, so I'm kind of just to interact with it more. Pokemon Go and Pokemon Pocket. Pokemon. And like I have my flow in Japanese, I have my YouTube is in Japanese, so all of this stuff that I'm doing through. And I do listen to Japanese every night. I watch videos and watch streamers before bed every night. At least a little bit. I don't know, it's not like I'm not studying, it's just that I'm not studying very hard compared to what I probably should be doing if I'm actually trying to pass N1 this year. Which I think I do still want to try to do. I'm not super sold on it. I don't really want to take it in July. I have to leave the country for that, and it's kind of hard to leave the country right now. But I may try to take it in December. And if I do that, then I would have to start studying more seriously at some point. Last time I took an N1 practice test was before I really started reading visual novels, but I was around like 45%. Which is like, that's good. That's significantly better than random guessing. That's pretty... It's within striking distance of passing. Easily. But just getting over that line comfortably and consistently is something that would take some more focused study in some of my weaker areas. Especially grammar. Because I have not had a lot of opportunity to do output practice, either in writing or speaking. Like, I recognize a lot of grammar, but I couldn't explicitly tell you what the specific meaning of using one conditional versus another conditional most of the time. I could vibes it and understand them if you put them in something. Be like, oh, okay, I understand. This one is associated more with this type of writing. So this sort of implication. But if you ask me to pick out which one of those in the other, like, productive direction, I would just be doing it kind of on vibes. So I need to go through, and I have resources for all of those saved. I have practice tests, I have the Shinkansen master books. I have plenty of resources, it's just a matter of actually wanting to sit down and specifically do study. Really commit to it and be like, okay, I'm gonna do a half hour of this a day. 5 months or whatever. Because even doing the like maybe half hour of Japanese study that I do a day right now that's pretty low, the amount that that's like a fairly casual. Because it's mostly just like being exposed to it. I'm not like actively on my way to do learn. So adding a half hour to that, and then also upping my more focused time. So like intentionally doing an hour of harder focused reading, plus even like 10 or 15 minutes of study would go a long way, and has gone a long way. I could feel myself getting better at reading, doing all of the visual novel reading that I did last year. Both for speed and stamina and comprehension. For the winter readathon, I did all of a visual novel in a day, which that would have been an insane thing to do a year ago for me. But now it's kind of just like, yeah, I could do, you know, you give me, if I have 5 or 6 or 7 hours of dedicated time, yeah, I could read a book in a day. As long as it's not something like crazy hard. Doing 100,000 characters is doable in a day for me. Not comfortable. Like, that is, like, I have to set aside plan to be reading for 8 hours. But, like, you know, if you're reading a book in a day in English, that's also the kind of thing that you have to do. And you can get faster, but getting much faster than I'm reading right now requires getting rid of sub-vocalization. I don't know if I want to do that in Japanese. I don't I mean, sometimes I sub-vocalize when I read in English, if I'm reading like really, really closely, but for Japanese, I think I kind of want to keep doing that for now. Alright, there's 3:30, so I'm gonna do 5 more encounters. I'm gonna count it down. I'm gonna call it good for the night. One. Black. Any luck? Any luck? Nothing tonight. $205 hours? Probably about another 1,000 encounters today. We're looking ballpark 18 to 19,000 encounters since my last shiny. Did not mean to do another encounter, but my hands just decided that we were going to. Alright. Save again here. Alright, thanks for hanging out tonight and listening to me yap. Didn't have a strong plan, but I did just want to kind of do a little bit more rain off gaming tonight. I'll be back to play some more Chance of Sennar tomorrow, probably. Not probably, definitely. We're gonna play more Chance of Sennar tomorrow. You don't have an option. You're going to do it. It's gonna be a good time. Just had to get my brain warmed up a little bit today. Sleep on that. Get those linguistics muscles warmed up a little bit. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Hope y'all have a good night. See you tomorrow.